Hello and welcome to the Rebel Guide to Tax, Legal and Business Setup. Let's start with the shocking truth. 82% of businesses fail because of cash flow problems. Cash flow is the biggest killer of small business, not because they couldn't sell, but because they didn't manage their money. It's the biggest killer of small business. And today we're going to make sure that never happens to you.
Because chaos kills businesses. I want to tell you about Suzanne. Suzanne was petrified of making any sales because she'd registered for VAT and she was scared of getting her return wrong. So she hadn't even made a sale. She didn't even need to register for VAT. Someone had told her that she should. She was under the threshold, but that fear absolutely froze her. And when we helped her deregister, suddenly she was actually free to sell and grow her business. But that fear and confusion stops more businesses than competition ever will. And that's what today is about, is clearing up that confusion.
And then there's my parents. My parents ran a pub. My dad focused on turnover. He thought turnover was everything. They expanded, they borrowed big, they thought more sales would fix everything, but they didn't know their numbers and they didn't see the gap. They weren't making a profit and it crushed them because turnover is vanity. Profit is sanity. And if you don't know your numbers, you're flying blind out there.
Because the truth is that the biggest killer of small business is not lack of sales, it's mismanaging the money. You could have like a whole pipeline of business coming in and still fail if you don't have the cash right and have that cash flow there.
And that's why we're here. Today we're going to fix that. We're going to make legal, tax, accounting simple and something like help you to actually feel confident about it by the end of the session. By the end of the session, you'll have a system to organise your money, a clear plan for tax, and the confidence to launch.
There'll even be a couple of graphs from me today. If you're familiar with my graphs, you'll be excited. So let's grab your notebooks. Let's get going. We are excited to get into this.
So welcome to the tax, accounting and legal section. Boy, have we got a lot for you here. We're so happy to see everyone on YouTube. K Studio is here, Hillary, Isabel, Edith, Philip, everyone's here. We're super happy. And this session, you might be thinking, like, is this global? Because we've got people from New Zealand, the USA, many other countries.
Like 40 other countries.
40 other countries. So we've divided the session up into two pieces today. Number one, there are some universal principles to business. So this is going to be the universal organising your business like a rebel, the actual system to organise your business. And then part two will be UK tax specifics. So if you're from a different country, we will let you know when we switch from the universal stuff that applies no matter where you live to the tax specifics.
There will be some numbers mentioned today. And I know some of you might have a complicated relationship with numbers. So I'd like you to repeat after me. I love numbers. Numbers love me. Maths will set me free. Simon is the only person I can see actually responding. Please say it with me, because this is so important, because I know this can be a real blocker for people. So if you embrace this, we're going to take it simple and slowly. So I love numbers.
Numbers love me.
Maths
will set me free. Because knowing the numbers of your business will give you a clarity like you couldn't imagine. And if you need some extra support with numbers, Katie did an entire workshop demystifying spreadsheets and teaching you how to use it. And then she also did a workshop on maths and numbers and percentages. So we have extra resources for you. Now, before we dive in, we have to talk about the disclaimer. Are you ready? We are not accountants, we are not financial advisors, we're just a random British couple that figure this stuff out for ourselves. We're sharing what we've learned. Tax rules and approaches change over time. Do your own research. There are no guarantees here, except the money back guarantee. If you don't like the course, you can have your money back at any stage. Please speak to Simon and he will send you a cheque.
If you've paid for this course, something has gone terribly wrong.
Exactly. Now let's get into the universal principles and organising like a rebel. And the idea is for you to develop your own money system. So this whole piece is about building a system that supports your business.
So how does this work? Well, you're going to have money coming into your business. That's the sales. You're going to have money going out, expenses, and then you have a gap between the two, ideally. If you've watched Rebel Finance School, you'll be familiar with this idea of a gap. In business world, that gap is called your profit. You get to keep some of that profit, and the rest, or some of it, goes to the taxman.
And that's the system. So we need to track money in, money out, profit, and the tax you pay, because chaos kills business. And the number of people we've come across who have shoe boxes full of receipts, they have them all like sat in paper, they're disorganized. Like, chaos kills business. And the number one killer of business, this is like a bit like the game, say what you see on the screen.
You're thinking dingbats?
It's a bit like dingbats, isn't it? Can you guess what this is? Please put it in the chat if you know what this is. It's kind of given away. I was very proud of this image.
Yay,
Yes,
they got it.
Peter and Hannah got
She
it.
got it. Cash flow, yes.
Someone said, I'm seeing a £10 note with £50 on it. Yes, AI has not quite perfected money yet. Simon says canal money. Simon, you're wrong.
Simon, you haven't quite got the hang of this game, have you?
Exactly. It is cash flow, the number one killer of small business. Westermo lad got it on YouTube. It is cash flow. And the aim of all of this is to have a simple system that works for you.
And there's two purposes behind that. Number one is for you to understand your business. This is so important to know what's going on with your business. And secondly, to be able to report to the government how much tax you pay.
Because paying tax is a good thing. No one particularly likes doing it, but paying tax is a good thing. The only way you don't pay tax is if you haven't made a profit. So if you pay tax, you should have made a profit. The question is, did you save for it?
So let's look at this and how it works. So for employees, this is the way your personal finances would work, and then we'll explain how it's different for businesses. So you get income from your job if you're an employee, if you work for someone. Your employer normally would take the tax before it even gets to you, and they give it to the government on your behalf. Then you have your personal spending, and the difference between the two is the gap. You'll be familiar with this if you've done Rebel Finance School. And then with your business, the idea is to create a profit. So you have your money in, you have the money out, the difference is the profit, and you pay tax on the profit. So some goes to the tax man, and then some goes to you.
And this is where the real difference is, because when you're an employee, you don't have to save for the tax. It's just taken before you get your money. When you're a business owner or a sole trader, you are in charge of your tax and you have to save for it. And that's what kills most businesses. Then once you've got the cash, it's very similar. Like, you have your personal stuff, your income from your business, your personal spending, and the gap between the two. And the only way to get wealthy is to create a gap between your income and your spending. But you need a system for your personal finances, and you need a system for your business finances, and they need to be separate. They have to be separate. And this was the biggest mistake I made when I launched my business, was I would spend on my credit card for my business and my personal life, and then the end of the month it's a mess going, which one's which, what do I claim for, how do I actually do it?
So let's look at each of the parts of the system one at a time. Let's start with money in, which is your sales. So the aim of this part of your system is you want to know how much money is coming in. That's the aim. So you're going to end up with a list of everything that you've asked for and received. That's what we're trying to do with this part of the system.
How do you do that? Well, when the money's coming in, you've basically got three stages. You've got to ask for the cash, you've got to receive the money, and asking for the money, receiving the money, and then you've got to make sure people pay. Those are the three elements that you go through. So let's go through those. The first one is asking for the money. Why is this different? It's because you can ask for the money in different ways. So you can send an invoice. An invoice is like a receipt. It's like a request for the money. You can get paid online, so you might have a website that's linked up to an online payment provider. People pay online and then the money come in. And then you might get paid in person if you're doing a market stall or something else. You've got the cash or card. And being paid online or being paid by card in person is actually a very similar outcome, because you get a list from your payment provider of everything you have sold.
We've got a few people saying that they haven't started their business yet, so they haven't been asking for money, receiving the money. The idea here is you start to think about how that system's going to work. So even if you haven't started yet, this is still absolutely relevant for you to think through, how is my system going to work? How is the process going to work?
Exactly. Now, what is an invoice? An invoice is a document you send to a customer requesting payment for goods or services. So that's what it is, and it's a legal record of the sale and proof of what was agreed. That's the key piece, and you actually need that proof to prove to the government that you have sold something. Here's what it was sold for, and then they can check your books. When do you use an invoice? Well, you use it anytime you sell a product and you expect payment later. By later, it could mean just 5 minutes later. It doesn't have to be a lot later, but it's like afterwards. You send them the invoice and then they pay you. Then you send them details on the invoice of how to pay you. And this is kind of common for freelancers, contractors, service-based businesses, or businesses that sell business to business. That's when you would use an invoice.
Is that what B2B means?
Yes, business to business.
And then some top tips for you on these invoices. So you're going to want to number the invoices, starting from 1 and going up. Agree the payment terms up front. Do you expect payment immediately, within 15 days, 30 days? And then take deposits for those big jobs.
You can use free tools. You can use a Google Doc template. You can use a free template for it. And then you have to track the unpaid invoices to make sure that people pay for it. Carol says in the chat, I use invoices because I'm a service-based business and I do photography. And that's exactly how it would work. You'd agree to do photography, send them an invoice, they would pay, and then you would go and deliver it. Around the world, there are some legal requirements for what you have to put on an invoice. Now, we're just going to go through them super quickly so you've got them, and then we'll move on. But you need a unique invoice number, so like 001, 002, 003, your business name and address and contact details, or if you're trading as a business, so you would be like Ella Trading As, and then the business name. You'd have your company number if you're a limited company or an actual company. You would have the customer's name and address, clear description of the products, the date you have provided them, the invoice date, the amount being charged. If you're VAT registered, you would have that, or if you're in New Zealand, it would be GST, or in the USA, it's sales tax, and the total amount you owe. Now, you might want to take a quick picture of this, because this is what you need to actually have on your invoice, and that'll be a good record for you.
Zara says, I don't understand the Ella Trading As thing.
Okay, so if you are trading as, when you're a sole trader, legally you are the business. So it's like, I am Alan Donegan, but I might have a business name such as, we'll just use the Rebel Business School, or we'll use Pineapples Inc. So I would be Alan Donegan trading as Pineapples Company. And that's the bit, because you as a sole trader are the entity and you are trading under a business name.
And company number, great question, Kerry. What's that about? Company number is only if you are a limited company or have a company. If you're self-employed, that is not relevant and you don't need to put it on there.
Exactly.
Because you don't have one, it's just you.
We're going to do more on tax later, but just to put your heart at ease, if you're in the UK, you do not need to register for VAT until you turnover, total sales, total income, more than 90 grand a year. So when you're starting, you don't really, there's not many situations where you would need to worry about VAT. We will deal with this more later in the UK specific bit. And then if you're in America, you do need to charge sales tax. But different states have different rules, so please look up the state you're in. And if you're in New Zealand, hello the future, good morning New Zealand, you have to sign up for goods and services tax if you turn over more than $60,000. So those are the 3 elements there. But we'll do more on that later.
What's turnover, Alan?
Turnover is the amount of money you bring in, like it's the total list of everything you have sold. So if you sell 10 items at £1,000, you've turned over £10,000. That doesn't mean you've made that money, because you will have also spent money, but that's your headline figure, the amount of money that comes into the business.
It's just the amount that you've sold, isn't it? The monetary amount of what you sold.
Exactly.
It's just another word for sales.
Exactly. Now, how you ask for the money determines how you're going to receive the money. So if you send an invoice, you might well get a bank transfer or an online payment. If people are paying by card, you'll take it via a card payment provider, which we'll come on to in a bit. If you get cash, you get physical cash, and then you have to do something with it. Log it in a spreadsheet, you have to bank it, you have to do lots of stuff with it. So that brings us sort of onto receiving money. And we had 3 examples to show you how different businesses receive money, because there are so many different businesses here tonight. There are people who do actual trading in a market. There are people who do online business. There's photographers, there's consultants, and all of the businesses work differently.
So the 3 examples we've got Alfred, who is an events organizer. We've got Priya, the market trader, and Gillian, who started very young. We're very proud of her. She is a consultant or freelancer, and we're just using these examples to illustrate how they have different systems and how that might apply to you, just to give you an idea of how to start thinking about this, because your homework is going to be to come up with what your system is going to be. That's what today is all about. What system are you going to have? And we're going to give you these examples to help you to start thinking about what yours might be.
So Alfred runs wellness retreats. He sells the wellness retreats online, and he promotes the retreat on his website. So he promotes the retreat, people visit the website, and they buy tickets on his website. He chose Stripe as his payment provider. Other payment providers are available. This is the one he chose.
We get nothing from saying about it.
No, exactly. And he gets a weekly payment in for what's coming. And he actually planned out his system. So he planned it all out. Oh, that didn't animate, did it?
Animate. That's very upsetting.
No, it will.
Oh, there we go.
People visit the website. Once they've visited the website, they click through and buy the ticket through a Stripe integration. They check a box to agree to have a cancellation policy, which is a critical part of selling an event. Then, if they've bought it, they've checked the box, they get sent to a confirmation page which tells them, like, you bought the event, here's where it is, here's all the details you need to know. They will also get an email confirmation because he set up the system to deliver it, and Stripe will auto-generate an invoice to go to the person to say, you bought this, here is your invoice showing you what you've bought. And then Stripe will auto put the money in your bank account every 7 days. Then he's kind of got 2 options from here. There might be a manual step where he downloads all of the sales from Stripe and then puts them into his own accounting spreadsheet. That's one way he could do it. Or if he was really smart, he would automate it all, and you can actually get Stripe to auto put all of your sales into a piece of software, like an accounting piece of software like Xero. And you kind of integrate them together. Why am I telling you all this? Because if you set the system up well, your business will run well. And I want you to think of yourself as a systems designer. So please repeat after me. I am designing systems for my business. I am designing systems for my business. Because if you design systems for your business, it's all automated and it flows smoothly. And we've had experience of running events for many years. And if you get it right, It is a beautiful thing because you have a web page, like the people come, it's all automated, and we've had it where we've put the event out to sale. We don't need to do anything else because we've pre-written the emails, we've pre-written the invoices, everything gets auto done, and the money shows up later, and it makes your life so much easier.
Yes, and people are saying, like, how do you design these systems? That's what we're showing you as you go through. So the money coming in, how are you going to capture that? That's all we're trying to say, is how are you going to capture and know who's giving you money and what money you've got? And you can do this. It doesn't have to be really high tech. You could just have pen and paper and write it down. This is what it's just saying, is what is your system? How are you going to capture this information? And it's just about being organized. So what's the money coming in? What's the money going out, which we're going to come on to. It doesn't have to be super complicated. We're just saying, how are you going to record this stuff? How are you going to keep track? And I saw a couple of people saying they're getting a little bit overwhelmed. That's always coming back to, how am I going to capture this information? That's the crux of all of this.
Exactly.
And just a point, so if you're watching live and you're on Zoom, the chat moves so fast we might not see your questions, so please pop them in the Q&A feature on Zoom. If you're watching on catch up or on YouTube, please put your questions in the comments or the chat. We'd love to see your questions as they come in.
Exactly. And if you think, when you go out to do business and things go well, which they will after a while, and you've got lots of orders coming in, it's better to have pre-designed the system and figured out, this is how I send the emails. Sina says, is the system the same as a process? Exactly the same thing. It's like a process. So the customer sends me the money this way, I send them the receipt this way, they get this. And it's the process that someone goes through, or the system that you have to track all of the money. So it's better to be pre-thinking than overwhelmed when the business is running. So we want to do the thinking up front so things are easier for us later on. Awesome. So we have a couple more examples. So Priya goes to the market and she takes money in two ways, cash or card. This is the cash example. So the customer comes up, she sells them the product, she receives the cash, and then what she does is she captures it in a simple Google form. This person bought this thing for this amount, and that Google form auto puts that log into a Google spreadsheet so that she can track all of the sales. And she does that little piece of work every time she sells something to make sure she has that list for her later on. And
she could go really low tech with this, just as you could write it in your notebook and just be very clear. Just have that page in your notebook. I sold this, it was this amount to this person on this date, just so that you have that list. That's all we're trying to do. Just remember that the output that we want from this is a list of money that you've received. Simple as that.
And Priya has also thought through that she wants to stay in touch with these clients that in the future and sell them more products. So she's decided that between receiving the cash and the Google form, she will ask each client that buys from her, would you like to join the mailing list to know about future products I'm offering? So she captures people's emails so she can go back to them and sell to them. They are you've got to think through these systems so that you can constantly bring customers back to you. Okay, then if she's taking it by card, she sells the product. She takes the payment by card. She chose to use SumUp as her provider. So they tap the card on the terminal she has in her hand, and then she downloads that list of sales from SumUp and gets weekly payments through. So that's a different way of doing it. Now, let's move on to Gillian. Gillian does an invoicing system. So the invoicing system is very different to being paid in the moment with the other two. So she sends out the invoice. She then has to wait for the other person to pay.
Because that's the term she came up with, that they have 30 days to be able to pay it. She could make that shorter, but that's kind of the standard for the area that she works in.
Then she has to chase them, and then they pay by bank transfer. Now, Gillian has a finance meeting every single week for unpaid invoices. She checks her bank account, she checks to see if the invoice was paid, If it's paid, she celebrates. If it wasn't paid, she sends a chaser. And you're like, hold on a second. You have to make sure they paid. Like, why should I have to chase them?
Yeah, this feels weird, isn't it? Like, you ask someone for payment, surely it's their responsibility to pay. Well, yes, it is. But people get distracted and busy. I'm sure it's happened to you where you forgot to pay something. So it's just normal that you send a chaser and say, this invoice is still outstanding. Please, can you pay when you get sec? So you don't have to use an enforcer. I mean, you can get Simon's services if you want. I hear he's setting up a side hustle. But there's a way to just ask nicely. And people expect that. Then most people's reaction will be, oh, whoops, sorry, yeah, I forgot to pay, and they'll send the money over. That's what most people will do. Sometimes people get funny, but that's their problem.
Yeah, exactly. And it's part of life. People forget stuff. People are lazy and busy. So we've kind of gone through so far the how of the money. We've looked at asking for the money, receiving the money, and making sure they pay. And this is the bit that's really important to think through. So your homework for later on is going to be to sketch out your system. How are you going to ask for the money? How are they going to pay? Like, how do you track the money out, which we're coming on to next? And that's going to be the homework. We did want to say to you that systems change every time you double your business, which I was a bit shocked about when I first found out about this. But like, as your business grow, your systems will have to change. And if you go from one member of staff or just you running your business to hiring someone, well then how's the system work with them? How are they going to work? Do you need a different system? Do they need a separate payment card? How does it work? And it'll change again when you double your staff, and it'll change again when you double your team. And everything changes as you grow, and you need new systems. And you might also be able to get cheaper payment providers, but you're going to have to develop that system as your business grows. But for now, what we want to do is design the system first, and then we choose which tools will enable us to do that for our business, because that's the key bit. So system design first.
People try to jump in with what the tool's going to be first, don't they?
Exactly.
But it's also so important just to think logically through, how is this going to work?
Exactly. Now, there are so many different tools. So if you were looking at money in, you could use Stripe to receive payments. We have no affiliation to any of these companies. They are just examples. So you've got Stripe, you've got SumUp, you've got Square, there is PayPal. That's one of the big ones out there. We hate PayPal.
We the Donegans. It's our personal opinion.
They are a terrible company which charges very high fees. So we say avoid them, but there are lots of different systems out there for collecting the money. And then you kind of go, well, how do I tie in the money in to the accounting software? And there's softwares like Free Agent, which is a free piece of software that well, it's free with a metal account.
Free, yeah. It's not free in general. Yeah.
No. There's Xero, which is a paid-for piece of software. There's Excel, there's Google Sheets. But you kind of have to tie these things together for it to work together.
And just a word of warning, be careful of tools, software that you see recommended online. Don't just go with what you see advertised by bloggers, YouTubers. Always come back to designing first and the tools second. And the reason that in general they'll be telling you to use those tools is because they will be getting a commission for getting you to use that tool. So always just think through what's right for you.
Exactly. There's been a little bit of debate over PayPal. If you're interested, I'll tell you why I hate PayPal later, and I'll tell you the exact story of how they held 100 grand hostage of money that I'd sold. So I'm not a big fan from practical experience. Now, going back to the invoicing system with Gillian, here's how she would tie up these tools. So she got a free metal account, which is spelled METTLE, for her business, and that gives her Free Agent, a piece of software to do your accounting for free. Katie and I actually use that for one of our businesses, and it's a very simple, relatively easy to use piece of software. So Gillian wants to send out the invoice. She writes the invoice in Free Agent, and she has linked Stripe to Free Agent. And what that does is when the invoice is written in Free Agent, it gets emailed out to the customer, and on the bottom is a Pay Now button from Stripe, which makes it really easy for the customer to just pay you instantly. Then she waits 30 days, because that was the terms she agreed. And what she did was she set up automatic chaser emails in Free Agent. So with a lot of the software out there, you can set up automatic chasers to people. So you send the email and then you say 30 days after, send this email that says, please could you pay up for the invoice? And it will only send the email if they haven't paid the initial invoice. So it makes it really easy for you and automates the system. And then the customer can either pay by Stripe by clicking on the invoice or by bank transfer and bringing the money in. But can you see how she's used those two pieces of softwares to integrate and make it easier to have a system that tracks all of this?
Yeah, and she came up with the system first and then thought, okay, what tools am I going to use for my system? And we got a few people saying they're like a little bit lost and confused. Maybe if you could say
tell us specifically,
could you, if as specific as you could, please, to help us to be able to unconfuse you. That's not even a word. To clear things up.
Yeah.
Just remember what we're coming back to is we're trying to come up with a list of money that you've received. That could be as simple as writing it down in a notebook. That could be as simple as, if you're confident with a spreadsheet, having a table in a spreadsheet, date that you received the money, amount that you received, who it was from, what it was for. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. The examples we gave was we're trying to show you how you might think through the process. Okay, the person's going to come to my market stall. They're going to pay for something. I've got the cash. How am I going to capture that? That's what we're coming back to. Just a list of everything that you've received so far. So we've got that whole system and we're looking at the money coming in. Of course, you're going to have money going out for your business as well. So far, we're just looking at money coming in. What are you receiving? If you haven't started your business yet, how do you think it might go? There's a lot of trial and error involved in this as well, right?
Like you learn as you go.
You're not going to get the perfect system. There's no such thing straight away. It's just figuring something out. What's your first best guess?
Holly says, I'm confused how to do it. Is it a legal requirement to do this? And certain elements of it are a legal requirement. So sending out an invoice or a receipt, having your company details on it, and then actually tracking all the money you have coming in, because you're going to have to report that to the government to say, here's everything I have sold. So you do actually need to track that. And that's the whole purpose of this, is tracking exactly the money coming in. That's the piece. Okay, is everyone still with me? Please give me some kind of sign you're still alive. Okay, Ariana gave thumbs up.
Have we unconfused you?
Julia gave thumbs up.
I've come up with a new verb for the English language, Alan. Got a few thumbs up, a few hearts. They're still here. There is that survivorship bias that the people that are completely confused have left. So, there we go.
Yes, if you're on YouTube, Bex, Kerry, Bookworm, please let me know. Are you still alive? Are you still out there? We just want to check. Zena says it's going a bit fast. We have a lot to cover tonight to give you, but the best thing about this is it's recorded, so we can watch it at any stage. Excellent. Victoria's loving the session. She's on the invoice bandwagon, which if we can automate that, it makes your life so much easier. Awesome. Westermo Lad's alive. Philip is still here and alive.
Tony misheard me. He thought I said a few thumbs up and a few farts. I said a few hearts.
Hearts.
Tony.
We will accept any symbols.
Hear what you want to hear.
Yes. Thunis says, could you put all sales on a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Absolutely. So you could absolutely have a spreadsheet that lists out all of the different sales. That is a fantastic system. You just need to work out when you're doing it, how you're doing it, and making sure it happens every time you make a sale, because that's the critical bit.
We're just trying to help you to get organised. That's the point of this first half of this session. How are you going to organise yourself? How are you going to track that money coming in? How are you going to track the money going out so that you know what's going on with your business? And then we're going to come on to the money going out shortly.
GZ says, what about services and businesses like a massage business? Well, ideally, if I was running a massage business, what I would want is an automated system where people could book into my diary for a massage and pay me up front. So I would set up a system with a booking element and a payment link so that people can buy the slot and pay up front. And I would want to automate as much of that as possible, because one of the problems with businesses where you book a slot is if you haven't prepaid, you might not show up. You have no commitment. So if you prepaid, people are far more likely to show up. And when you're doing a business like a massage business or a consultant, like the only thing you're selling is your time. That is your most valuable asset. So you need people to book early, pay in advance, and make sure you have the money and you deliver what they want.
Carol Ann says it's making sense. Her issue is that her system, and she put system in inverted commas, I think was saying she doesn't really have a system. Her system's got messy. So what I would say for those of you that have started in business and you've maybe got systems but it's got confused, just get a pen and paper and just sketch out what happens. Okay, I speak to the client on the phone, or I get an email request for me to quote. What happens next? I send them a quote, then they say yes, and then I bill them. Like, what ideally would happen? And then you can start to see it. If you get it out on paper, I find that so useful. Just like old-fashioned pen and paper, sketch it out.
Exactly. And when people are saying about like getting confused or struggling with this stuff, that's actually the whole purpose of doing this, is to create that clear, simple system that we follow through every time. Because if we rely on our brains, they forget things, they have problems, they get distracted. Oh, there's a chocolate biscuit over there.
Is there?
And then you forget and you don't send the invoice. So what we have to do is set up systems that we just follow the system and our brain is taken out of the process. That way we just do the same thing every time and we have the simple triggers. And that just makes it so much easier for all of this. Okay. And coming up...
Oh, and Simon made a great point in the chat as well, that we do have a Q&A session. So come along on Thursday if there's anything specific that you want to ask as we go.
Exactly.
And it's being recorded and you can watch back at any time.
So we also have the next Monday night session. Laura is coming on and she's actually going to show you how to integrate SumUp into your website. So we're talking about like designing the system, then Laura's going to help you actually like integrate it into the website, build the website and work on it. So there's lots of elements to this. We're going to help you with it going forwards, but we need to start with, here's how we ideally want our system to work. Awesome. Right, we're going to move on to the next bit. A few tips. Number one, please make sure you get paid in advance. There are many ways you can do it. You can say to the customer, please can you pay in advance to confirm the date? Your booking is not confirmed until you have paid. You can say, please can you pay in advance so that I can buy the materials to deliver what you want to deliver. You can say, please pay in advance because that's our system. Like, that's the way we do things. You pay, then we deliver, and people are used to paying up front. But I don't understand why business owners, we just go, oh, I'll do all the work for free and then I'll charge them like 3 months later. Don't do that. People are used to paying up front for things, so please ask for the money up front. Then the next one is ask to take a deposit. Get a commitment from the customer. The example of this...
If they're not willing to pay the whole amount up front.
Exactly. And if they're not willing to pay up front, then something's wrong. Then you probably shouldn't do the deal. But the example of this is we had a lady that had a cupcake business. She was so excited. She got an order for 100 cupcakes and she spent a huge amount of time making the cupcakes. Then it came to the day when the person was meant to be picking up the cupcakes and she emailed them. She messaged them and she got nothing back. Then it's 10 a.m, 11 a.m, midday, the cupcakes are still sat on the side. It's 4 p.m, the cupcakes are still sat on the side, and she hadn't taken a deposit. she hadn't got a commitment up front and the person didn't show up to get the cupcakes. Like, it is shocking, but someone said in the chat, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking, but it happens. So let's make sure it doesn't happen to you. Take the money up front, take a deposit, get commitment. It is so, so, so important. And then we also wanted to very briefly talk to you about cancellation policies. Why do we talk about a cancellation policy? We used to have an events business, and we would sell the tickets, get the customer money in, and then we would book the hotel. So we would pay for the hotel, we would pay for all the vendors, and lay out all the money to organise the event. Then if the customer tries to cancel later on, if it's too close to the start of the event, we don't have a chance to resell the ticket. So we had a clear cancellation policy that said X days out, like, you can't get your money back. We had a lady contact us. She said, like, I want to cancel my ticket. She had failed, like, it was too close to the event. So we said no, because we've already spent your money on your hotel room and on the food for you. And she actually disputed it with the credit card company. So we got a message from the credit card company saying, you need to prove you had a clear cancellation policy. You need to send us all of your documentation. Otherwise, we're giving the money back to the lady. Luckily, we had a clear cancellation policy. We sent all the details and the credit card company backed us in this situation. But if you don't have that, you will be in trouble. So have very clear cancellation policy, terms and conditions, and it is to protect both of you and the customer. So have some strong written rules that protect you both, and it'll protect you if there is ever a disputed payment. So it's very important to do. And I did not want to do it early on because I'm like, everyone's lovely, everyone can be trusted.
It does feel a little bit awkward, doesn't it? Because you don't want to be thinking about that, because, you know, you'll sell the thing, everyone's happy, and you're like, well, if you don't turn up, this is what happened. But it protects both of you, and they need to understand you're a business as well. It's challenging then if people cancel at the last minute. So it protects both of you. Everyone's clear on how it works. And if they're not happy with it, then if you tell them the policy up front and they don't like the policy, you can say, well, okay, sorry, this isn't going to work then between us. And it's better to have that up front.
Now, little top tip, you can work with AI to create your system. AI is an incredible tool. I don't care which one you use. The one we use is Copilot, but use whichever one you want. And here is an idea for a prompt. You would say to AI, help me create a system to ask for the money, track the money I get, and then follow up with the customers for my new business. Ask me questions one at a time until you understand enough to be able to give me a first draft of my system for my business. I want my system to be super simple, easy to follow, and powerful. Ask me the first question, please. And it's incredible how you can have someone to chat things through and work through it with. Just one warning, AI sometimes makes things up. So sometimes it finds old websites and tells you stuff that isn't true. So please make sure you check that it is actually doing what it needs to do.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Because it's like, there's this beautiful system and it does this and this all works together. And you're like, I don't think it does, AI. Are you lying to me? Like, oh yes, sorry, Katie, I did make that up. So take it with a pinch of salt, but it's a great first draft, isn't it, that you can then iterate and work on.
Exactly. So here's the Rebel money system that we were talking about. We've had a look through money in. We're going to now move on to money out, which is the expenses. So money out. Now, lots of people end up going in a business like, where did all the money go? And you cannot believe how many businesses spend their way to doom and don't even know where the money is going. But there is a simple way to know where the money's going.
You look.
You track it.
You see where it went. And if you've done Rebel Finance School, you'll be familiar with this for your personal finances. And the idea is just the same with your business. So the aim is to know how much you spent, and then you're going to just want to have a categorized list of everything that you spent.
Why track your spending? Well, tracking your spending for your business is critical because every expense you list, means you pay less tax. You can know the true cost of delivering your product or service, which actually is a critical element, because people don't really understand what the true cost is of delivering the sales or the support that they're doing. You can make informed pricing decisions. So if you know the true cost, then you know how much you actually have to charge, which then leads to knowing your profitability. This was the one that killed my parents' business. They didn't properly know this, and they were losing money for a year without really knowing. You can also predict future spending, so you know I spend this, I'm probably going to continue spending it every month. It helps you with tax compliance. Yay to sleeping well at night. Tracking your spending helps you to stay safe with the tax person. And then finally, cash flow control. It helps you to control your cash flow.
It is key when you're looking at your spending to separate between your personal spending and your business, and to have a wall between the two. So just have separate accounts, separate systems, separate cards. In the UK, if you are a sole trader, self-employed, you do not need to have a business account. You can use a personal bank account. I recommend that you get your own personal bank account that you just designate, this is for my business. And it just makes it so much cleaner and simpler, and you can see the money going in and out of that one account. This is my business and this is me. Two separate things.
Then we need to capture every single receipt. The VAT details, if you're VAT registered, you cannot claim the VAT back unless you have a VAT receipt. And you must keep these receipts for 7 years. Yes, you heard me correctly. The government has 7 years to come back to you and check your receipts. We recommend taking photos of them so that you have them digitally and then you can never lose them. Lindsay's like, every single receipt? Yes, Lindsay, every single receipt. They have up to 7 years to come back and audit you, which is quite crazy, but you need to track every single receipt.
Which is why it is key to have a system, a process. This is what we're coming to for this side of the equation. So we talked about your money in, having a list of everything that you received. Now we're talking about money out, a simple list of everything that you spent for your business and proof. So you need to prove, if the tax person comes and says, well, show me that you spent this for your business, to be able to say, here you go, here's the proof.
Which can be a picture of the receipts. A few people are like, receipts fade. Yes, they do. So you can just take a picture and keep them in a folder, and that is enough to have them safe. So how do you actually track? You could do it in many ways. And if you've done Rebel Finance School, you'll know about tracking systems. You might have a Google form that links to a Google sheet, and you can do a free, put it in every time you buy something, and then it enters the spreadsheet and you can take a photo of it. You might have a Jot form and an Excel spreadsheet, and Jot form actually allows you to add a picture to the form. So you could set up a simple form, keep the picture, put it in a file, and then it adds it to your Excel spreadsheet.
Have that separate dedicated bank account that we talked about just now, and just spend on the one company card, company in inverted commas, because it could be that it's your another personal account, but it's designated, this is my business, this is me, I'm spending on this company card.
You might use a tool like Pleo or Anamoney or Free Agent. Some of them cost money, some of them don't. But the whole point is simplicity rules with all of this stuff. And we've mentioned Free Agent a few times. Metal is a free business bank account designed for sole traders. The only reason we talk about it is free. We get nothing out of mentioning them. And Free Agent, they give you a piece of software free with it. And that has a little app that you can take a photo of the receipt, enter the details, and then those details get put into your spreadsheet. So that's kind of why we talk about that one.
Melissa says, are you recommending you do not spend from your business account on personal things?
Yes.
Keep it separate. It's just so much clearer, simpler, easier. And I appreciate there might be some of you that already have a bit of a mess that you're spending on both your business and you from the same account. Just start from now, separate them, open a new personal account. If you're in the UK as a sole trader, you don't have to have a business account. It can be a personal account, just like your normal current account. Have a separate one. This is now my business account. Money in, money out goes from that account. It's just going to be so much simpler and easier, because remember, what we're trying to get to here is a list of all the money you've got coming in and a list of all the money going out. And if you have that in one place, one account, it would be so much simpler.
Exactly. If you track it in a spreadsheet, if you use a piece of software, we can work out the tool, but we need to know what you're actually going to track all of this stuff. Livia says, where do you keep all the receipt photos? You can have a folder on your phone, you can have a folder on your computer. You just need a simple place where they're all dumped in one place. And then when HMRC asks for them, you can say they're all in this folder. Knock yourself out. And they can have fun looking around them.
Listeners, HMRC is the UK tax place,
person,
organisation,
company,
play. I think it's a company.
Structure.
Anyway, you know what I mean. Move on.
Yes, and there is, it's the tax. They call him the tax man. I don't know why it's always called the tax man.
Tax human.
The tax human that comes and takes all your money. Right. Stephanie says, what is Metal? Metal is a free business bank account for sole traders and small businesses. That gives you a free piece of software called Free Agent to be able to use and track all this stuff. So it's like an idea of a tool for the system.
Yeah, this is a UK thing.
Exactly. Right. Another expense that people don't tend to think about is driving places, mileage. Now, you need to track when you drive for your business, because it is a business expense and you can claim for it, because you've got to drive places every now and again, and it is an allowable expense. So it actually reduces your profit and means you pay less tax. And how it works in all of the countries, New Zealand, the USA, the UK, is you track how many miles you have driven, and then you times it by a cents or pence per mile for the journey. You need to track the reason for the journey, and you need to capture all of the details. That is the key element, is tracking all of the details. And mileage is a bit annoying because you have to track different details, such as like who you're going to see and why you're going to see them. So you might need a slightly different system to track the mileage. Maybe it's just a pen and paper in your car where you write down the date you drove. I drove from home to see Jeff, and the reason it was a client meeting is 12 miles each way. In the UK, you do 45 pence per mile is the allowance the government gives you. It's different, like number of cents in New Zealand and the USA, but you would times 24 miles times 45 pence. And my allowable expense is £10.80. Shelley, it is different for electric vehicles. You'll have to look that one up, but there's a different amount for certain different types of vehicles.
And you can, if you don't, people are saying, well, if you don't drive and you're using public transport, you can claim the public transport, claim the bus fare, claim the train fare, right? As long as you have a receipt. You need to prove that you've paid for that, so you need to keep the ticket or the receipt to show that you have.
Exactly. And then you would just list out all the different journeys you make in your car. You've got to track your expenses. This is part of the cost of business, and this is actually what people don't really understand, is they've paid a lot to drive somewhere and then they don't bake that into their pricing structure, and then they end up like not making enough money. So this will increase your expenses, but it will also lower your taxes. Okay, that brings us on to categorizing your spending. The idea is you've got this giant list of things you've spent money on, and then you categorize it into categories like how much goes on to raw materials. If you were making soap, you'd want to list out, I spent this on the raw materials. I spent this on the team members. I spent this on marketing or transport. This just helps you to understand your business and where the money goes. That is the key bit, is working out where the money goes. The government created a little list of categories that might help you. So if you want to, you can take a picture of this slide, or we'll put it in the notes. But it gives you some categories you could start using that will work for most businesses to be able to look through those different elements. So there's the categories you might want to use.
You can adapt those as you see fit.
May says, I love this, but I wish I had a minion who did all this for me. May, do you have kids? Maybe you can put them to work. You can hire a bookkeeper, but they're expensive. When you start, it's actually good to do it yourself, because then you'll understand your own business and where the money's going and how much you are paying for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you choose a system, Katie?
Well, there's a few things to think about when you're looking at the different elements of the system. So for the money that's coming in, well, how many customers do you have? How many transactions do you have? If you have 1 or 2 clients and you bill them once a quarter, you've got what, like 7 or 8 times that you've got money coming in. You don't need like a really automated complex thing. You can just jot it down. How are you going to receive the money? Just these are the things to think about when you think, okay, I'm designing my system, and then what are the tools I'm going to want to use to do that process?
And if you've got 1,000 customers, you want an automated system because you'll never keep up with it. And then on the money out, like what is specifically you buying? How many transactions are you making, and how are you spending that money? Is it card? Is it cash? Is it bank transfer? Because if it's on one separate card, you could just take a photo of the receipt and then download those expenses and put it in your tracking spreadsheet. And then that leads to working out your profit. And the whole point is to keep the system simple. What's the best system? Can you tell me what is the best system for your business? Tony says free accounting software. Levi says AI macros. The one that you use.
Yes. Gail got it. Ariana got it. The one you use, the
Pete
one that
Hannah.
works for you, the simplest.
It's the one that you will use, the simplest possible version, whichever one works for you. And we need to make it as simple as possible for you so that it actually gets done. Because otherwise, you won't do it. You won't know how much money you're making. You'll get in trouble with the tax man and things won't go well. Hillary got it right on YouTube. Yes, Hillary, it's the system that works for you exactly. And Hillary says, can you claim for research and development as a business expense? You can in some countries and for some things. You have to look up the specific details about what is allowable or not.
Okay, so we have looked at money in, we just looked at expenses. Now we're going to look at profit. And this is the money system that you will develop for your business. So for profit, we want to know how profitable your business is. And we want to come up with an overall number, a monetary amount that you're then liable to pay tax on. That's the purpose of this part of your system. Because remember, you pay tax on the profit, not on the sale. So your profit is your difference between the money that comes in, the money goes out, and you have to pay tax on that profit. And you have to pay that after the fact. So it's something you need to plan for, as opposed to when you're an employee, work for someone else, normally they capture that tax up front for you.
And then the biggest thing I wanted to say to you is turnover is vanity. If you have people shouting like, I made 10 million, I made this, it doesn't make a difference if they didn't make any profit. Like, profit is the thing you have to care about, not turnover. So I'd love you to really get this. Turnover is vanity. That's like people shouting, I made £1 million this year. No, you didn't make £1 million this year. What was your profit? Mm-hmm. It's the people who drive Ferraris, but they're built on debt. It's the people who live on big houses, but are bought on debt. Like, turnover is vanity. Profit is sanity. That is the key piece. Profit matters. We don't care about the rest.
And it's the profit that you pay tax on. So how can we make our profit an amount that means that we pay less tax? Because the aim here, of course, we want to pay tax, we want to contribute, but let's pay the amount that is the right amount for our business. So you got your money in, you got the money out, the difference is the profit. You pay tax on that and you keep the rest. If you were to increase the amount that you spend on your business, then your profit goes down. Spend more, less profit. So it means that the tax will also go down. So you're saying you can pay less tax by spending more. Let's just go out and spend all our money. Is that what we're saying, Alan?
No. We don't just go out and spend all the money. Like, if I spend more, I'll pay less tax. But I also don't keep less. So you have to like not just blow the money. So what we wanted to share with you, how to spend more and keep more.
So there's two keys to this. One is have more legitimate business expenses, and we'll come on to what those are. And two is things that you would have spent anyway, but to put them through your business if they are that legitimate business expense. Because all the time we have people come to us and say, well, I'm going to put it through my business, so it's like, it's kind of free, right? No, it's still costing you money. It's just that you don't pay tax on it. So we're not trying to fabricate a bunch of expenses so that you pay less profit, because you're still spending that money. We're just saying anything that you can put through your business as a legitimate expense that you're spending anyway, that will reduce the profit. I made a diagram.
We made a diagram. So have a look at this one. This is the diagram. So you've seen this already, like the money out and the profit. And on that profit, you pay the tax, and then you get to keep what is left.
If you increase the amount that you spend, you will have less profit, so you will pay less tax. And then you think, oh, hang on, but I'm keeping less. This does not look like fun. I'm keeping less money. But if you increase your spending with money that you would have spent anyway, and that you are allowed to put through your business as a business expense, then your profit is lower. Then you pay less tax. But your money is kind of that money that you would have spent anyway, plus the amount that you get to keep. So that bit in the middle is kind of false. So we just want to look at the two there. And you can see you get this little bonus money at the top that you're not paying tax on because you've put this additional amounts through your business.
Which kind of brings us on to what is a legitimate business expense.
We've got a quiz.
We have a quiz for you.
I like
So
quizzes.
Ewan, I hope you're lining up the quiz. If you're on YouTube, you can play along to the quiz as well. So Stuart, Edith, Hilary, Kerry, Simon, all the people on YouTube, you can play along as well. Here is the link to the quiz for the YouTubers. For the people on Zoom, you will be able to actually do the quiz in Zoom. So if you could sort of launch the quiz alongside us, please, Ewan, that would be fantastic. Is Ewan, are you there, Ewan? Are you launching? He's done it.
Yay,
awesome.
Thanks, Ewan.
So here is the first question for everyone. So play along, scan the QR code if you are on YouTube. Also, the Rebel Business School people that are helping us run the course will be putting the link in the chat as well to make sure you've got it. Right, so which of these is an allowable business expense? A, buying stock to resell. B, buying a unicorn for your office. C, paying for your Netflix subscription. Or D, buying stationery for your business. Which of these is allowable expense? We've got 10% of people currently voting for buying a unicorn for their office.
You asked for that.
I'm concerned about that.
You asked for that.
Well, how could buying a unicorn be a business expense, Katie?
If you use it to create the goods and services that you'll then, if you rent out unicorns, then that's right.
Maybe if your business is called Unicornucopia and you need it as a logo, but you can't really expense a unicorn in an office. The correct answers are buying stock to resell and buying stationery for your business. So it is A and D. So let's go on to question 2. So question 2, Ewan, if you could advance to question 2. You drive to Staples to buy printer paper for your business. Can you claim A, the cost of the paper, B, the mileage to and from Staples, C, the cost of lunch at the cafe next to Staples, and D, the cost of the entire car because you drove there? What can you actually expense? I'd love you to vote now. You guys are good at this. You've already voted. I love it. It is actually A and B. You can't do the lunch next door unless it's a legitimate business meeting that happens to be there. But just because you go to Staples doesn't mean you can do lunch next door. And the cost of the car you cannot do, but you can do the mileage back and forwards. Question 3. Which of these are definitely not an allowed business expense? So you've got A, a new suit for a business meeting. B, your dog's grooming. C, a business insurance policy. And D, your family trip to Disneyland. Which of these are definitely not a business expense? I'm still quite shocked. Only 94% of you voted that Disneyland is not an expense. The other 6% of you think you can
Wishful thinking.
expense Disneyland.
That is wishful thinking.
Yeah, you cannot expense the Disneyland trip. The new suit for business meetings cannot be expensed unless you happen to have the logo of your business emblazoned upon it. Then it becomes a legitimate expense, but it's not. Just a suit is not, because you might use that to go out to dinner or something. So it's not solely for business.
It's a very formal dinner. I don't know.
I know.
Have you ever worn a suit to dinner?
Never. Yeah, May says that's why I branded all my uniforms. May knows the trick. Right, so the Disney trip is definitely not expensive.
Oh.
It's a shame. Right, question 4. You run a YouTube channel about business. Can you claim a superhero costume for filming? Your entire home internet bill? Your entire rent? Or a trip to Comic-Con to interview entrepreneurs? Which of these can you claim for? Which one have you got? As an expense.
When we say claim, we just mean that you are saying
it's a legitimate
declaring.
business
It's
expense.
not like you have to go to the tax man and say, "Excuse me, I'm doing this." You just capture it in your system, in your list of your expenses.
I love it. The answers are coming in. A and D says pretty much everyone, which I love. Edith wrote A and B. It's not A and B, it's A and D. Superhero costume for filming for your YouTube channel. You can definitely claim for that. And a trip to Comic-Con to interview entrepreneurs if it is solely for business purposes. So only if it is solely for business purposes and you are actually interviewing business people at Comic-Con.
You're allowed to have fun at the same time?
No fun.
Okay.
You buy lunch for yourself every day while working from home. Can you claim it as a business expense if A, yes, because you're working, B, only if I'm entertaining a client, C, only if I eat it in a suit,
Do you wear a bib or some kind of apron because you don't want to be getting your dinner down your new suit?
or D, not unless it's a legitimate business meeting? Charlotte put B. It's not B. It is not B on this one, actually. It is not unless it's a legitimate business meeting.
Oh, you thought that they put C, didn't you? That's why you laughed.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
It has to be a legitimate business meeting for you to be able to claim it, exactly. So there you go.
Okay, quick fire round. True or false, you can claim the cost of your business phone?
Roseanne says true. Yes, true. Yeah, it is indeed true. You can claim the cost of your business phone. Exactly. Quick one. True or false? You can claim your Netflix subscription if you watch business documentaries.
False. They're all putting
Yeah,
false.
you guys are good.
A couple of trues.
It is actually false. You cannot claim your Netflix subscription. The only way you could do that is if you actually worked in TV production, or it was your business to actually produce TV, then maybe you could do it, but not if you're watching business documentaries. Okay, true or false? You must keep your receipts for 7 years. You must keep your receipts for 7 years. Oh, you guys are good.
They've been listening.
You've been listening.
Taking notes.
And then the final question, second to last. You can claim for your commute to your regular workplace.
True or false?
You can claim your commute to your regular workplace. There's some mixed responses here. It's actually false. You cannot claim if it's your regular workplace, because it's like just driving to your workplace. If you were going random different places...
Well, not random, but, related to your business.
Julia writes, only if you go on a steam train. Unfortunately not, Julia. That would be amazing if you could. Okay, final question. In which of these situations can you expense a pineapple? Is it A, brought as a prop for a tropical themed photo shoot for your business website? B, bought for your child's packed lunch? C, purchased for your team's Friday office fruit bowl? D, used as a doorstop in the home office? Or E, bought to celebrate International Pineapple Day because you just love pineapples?
So could it be more than one of these?
It can be more than one.
What's the answer?
Ooh, Peter and Hannah say A, C, D. Mark says A and C. Okay, we've got a few C's. The answer is actually A, so you could definitely have it as a prop for a tropical themed photo shoot for your business. And C, purchased for your team's Friday office fruit bowl as part of your health and wellness plan.
Very nice.
So those are the ones that you can do. There's the quiz. What did you get? What was your score, everyone? How many did you get? Did you get it right?
100%.
Are you dodgy? And did you try and expense things that you shouldn't have been expensing? Will you be caught out for tax compliance? I guess we should rename this as How Dodgy Are You quiz.
I think that's true.
Tell us, how dodgy are you?
On a scale of 1 to dodgy, how dodgy are you?
Anna says she's definitely buying the unicorn. Lisa says very dodgy. Abby, very dodgy. Tony says they'll never take me alive.
Frida's slightly dodgy. Definitely thought you could do the pineapple doorstop.
No, pineapple doorstop does not go. Definitely not. Nick says, is there a kind of manual for this? Yes, the government website's actually excellent for this stuff.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in the UK part of the session.
Yeah, exactly. But you kind of need to know what you can claim for. It's really important, and having as many of the expenses you would be making anyway as legitimate expenses in your business and tracking them all will enable you to reduce the tax you pay.
Which the key, which we said, is not to just spend willy-nilly because you're like, well, it's reducing my profit. It's only things that you would be spending anyway, because the key is to keep as much of that money that you're bringing into your business as possible for you, because that's, like, I'm sure one of the main reasons for you doing your business is to make some money. So let's get you to keep as much as possible.
Exactly, and I love your energy out there working out what you can claim and what you can't. P says, did you claim for the pineapple you have on the sofa?
I was waiting for someone to spot the pineapple in the background.
That was a gift last night, someone who came round for dinner, which was amazing. Okay, we're going to move on to the next section now.
So we've talked about money in.
I love Mark's picture of the pineapple glasses.
Amazing. So we talked about money in, we talked about money out, and that difference that you can increase your expenses to reduce your profit. Now we're going to talk about the tax. So regardless of where you are in the world, if you have your own business, you're going to want to put the tax to one side. This is key because it is your job to pay the tax at a later date. So you want to make sure you put the tax to one side. So you've got your taxman little bucket, little thing to one side in a separate account. You've got you. Some goes to them, some goes to you. Put it in a separate account and repeat after me. This is not my money.
This is the taxman's money. This is not my money. Do you know how many people get in trouble by spending the money they should be giving the taxman and then not having it later on to pay for it? It's actually the biggest killer of small business. This is not my money. It is the taxman's money. And you can even put that on the account. Tax human's money. Call the account differently.
And then
how much do you put aside? Well, that depends on the country. We'll come on to the UK specifics later. But for the UK, you would put aside 20%. So take 20% of everything you get in and put it in a separate account called Taxman's Money, and that is everything you sell. So if you sell something for a tenner, take 2 and put it in a separate account, and that will keep you safe.
And someone asked in the chat, oh, that's how much, but wouldn't you put aside the profit? Actually, if you put aside everything that you've sold, then you're going to have a little bonus. You're going to have put away slightly more than you need, and we'll come on to that, how that works in the UK specific part.
Then it's really important to have a weekly or monthly finance meeting to make sure you stay on top of this stuff. What do we mean by that, Katie?
If you have a regular time where you're going to look at the money that's coming in and going out of your business, you're going to stay so much on top of it. You're going to spot things, you're going to notice things that haven't been paid or received, and it's just going to keep you very well organized as you go. So the first thing you can do in your monthly finance meeting is you're going to get your mind in the right place, and you're going to repeat, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and you're going to get yourself in a good mood. You're going to celebrate anything that's gone well so far that month, and just to get you excited about doing this.
Then we'll review the numbers. How much did we sell? How much did we spend? What's our profit? And we'll check through the numbers to make sure we're doing well.
You're going to chase the outstanding invoices. You may or may not need that hockey stick. Hopefully not. Just be nice to people. That's fine. That was a reference to Simon. I feel like out of context, people are going to think I'm quite violent, which does happen sometimes.
And then check your expenses. Where is all your money going? How much money is going? And you can start to look at the future spending as well.
Have you tracked all your mileage? Have you got all the receipts for everything that you spent? We found, particularly for stuff that you might be buying online where you don't, physically get that receipt in your hands, you might want to go back through your emails, make sure you've captured those receipts, put them in a folder somewhere, just capture them and make sure you're up to date. And doing this once a month means that, you don't get to a few months' time and be like, oh, well, what was that thing I paid for? Where did that go? The more frequent you can do this, the better.
Yes, and I'm saying that out of experience of it going the other way, going like, what the heck was this receipt? And then you want to do a little bit of forecasting and planning, like if I spent this much this month, how much am I spending next month? What's my likely sales next month? Am I on a good trajectory for the future?
Are there any big bills coming up, any tax deadlines? Just getting organised with what's coming up in your calendar.
And then, can I move any of my money into my personal pension? We'll come on to specifically that later, but a large part of this is to make you wealthy over time.
And then finally, this is all about taking action, doing something different as a result of what you discovered in your meeting. So what are you going to do next month? Are you going to put your prices up? Are you going to chase those 3 invoices that they haven't paid for 2 months? Like, what are you actually going to do differently as a result of this meeting?
Okay. Then we're going to talk to you very briefly about a Launch Now framework. In the UK specifically, you get what's called a £1,000 trading allowance. That means that you can sell up to £1,000 of a service, a good, a thing, and there is no need to report it to HMRC, the government. That means you can run a mini experiment for up to £1,000 turnover, and you don't even have to tell them about it. But you do need to track it, because if they ever ask you about it, you will need to prove that you didn't go over the £1,000, and that, even if you don't have to report it, you still have to prove that you didn't do something dodgy. So the simple system, maybe for your first mini experiment, is just on a piece of paper or a simple spreadsheet, track the sales, and for the money out, just track them in a simple jot form, take the photos of the receipts and have a simple spreadsheet, and then just work out what your profit is. The whole point is keep it simple for your first £1,000. Now, do you need an accountant is a question that always comes up. You can do this yourself. If you are a sole trader, you can definitely do it yourself. It is possible. If you're a limited company, it is way more difficult.
So it's useful to have an accountant. We'll come on to more of that in the UK specific part.
Yeah, which is coming up. You don't always need an accountant to start with if you are good at tracking this stuff, and good systems actually do most of the work for you. The difference between an accountant and a bookkeeper basically does the filing the receipts, the tracking everything, and everything that a good system should do for you. The accountant actually works out the tax on it and does more of a high level work with it. Okay, so there has been a lot of information in this first little section. A few people are asking about the trading allowance.
Yeah, can you explain that a bit more? So people are saying, is that per tax year? Is it per month? Is it total? Is that sales? Is that profit? How does it work, Alan?
Per tax year, turnover.
So sales.
Sales. So you can sell £1,000 worth of stuff. It doesn't matter what the profit is on it, but it just allows you to sell some stuff, and you get £1,000 a year. And it'll change probably next year, but who knows? But at the moment, it's £1,000.
Is it per business? So if you've got several side hustles that you've got, or several businesses?
Pascal, I love the way you think, but no. It is £1,000 per person.
Stephen asked the same thing. How many different £1,000 experiments can I try? That's a great question, Stephen.
But Katie could have one. I can have
That's
one.
true.
If you've got a partner, they can have one. You could say that was their £1,000 experiment. That was their £1,000 experiment. You just need to track it, but it's 1,000 per person, turnover per year. Everyone got it? Okay, cool. What if you have a main job as well with an annual salary? Everyone Even people with jobs are allowed £1,000 trading allowance. Every single person. Yes, that includes you. Awesome. Okay, so what I would love you to do, please, is please put in the chat, whether on YouTube or on Zoom, what's the biggest thing you've got out of this first part of the session tonight? What's the biggest thing you've got out of the session so far? Are you okay? Inma's got her hands over her eyes. I'm a bit worried about you. Are you okay, Inma? Oh, she's frozen. Her internet has gone as well.
Ariana says tracking is key. Corinne says make a system and use it.
Yes, Corinne.
Deanne says tracking is important. Dominique, the weekly finance meeting.
Manning, open a separate account. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Automate the system, 100%. It makes such a difference. Profit is sanity, says Oliver. Yes, Oliver. It's all about the profit, definitely.
Kerry on YouTube says separate everything between personal and my business.
Exactly. Charlie asks, what's the difference between a limited trader and a sole trader? A limited company and a sole trader. We're doing that next. Stainer says, making sure I'm organised. Stainer, that is like 100% the thing. If you're organised, it is amazing how simple the business can be. If you're disorganised, it will cause you untold nightmares.
If you're watching this on catch up, please leave a comment on YouTube and tell us what have you got from this part so far.
Exactly. Oni says, didn't know about the annual trading allowance. Oni, it's super helpful. Jack is saying software to help. Absolutely. Heart of England Tutor says the importance of a good, simple system and keeping accurate records. That is absolutely it. Like, if I could get you one thing out of this first session, it would be the importance of a simple system to track everything, and it will take all of the weight off your shoulders and put it on the system and make your life easier, so you can spend more time doing your business and less time keeping track of receipts.
From personal experience.
Oh yes, from personal experience. I spent a lot of time keeping track of receipts.
We're going to give some homework.
Yes, homework for part 1.
So, your job, sketch out your system to the best of your knowledge or what you think might happen with your business. Because I appreciate some of you haven't actually started yet, or you're thinking about what you're going to do. So, how is the money going to come in? How is the money going to go out? How are you going to keep track of that? This is the whole point. How are you going to keep track of what's coming in, what's going out, so what you owe and what the profit is?
And then number 2, plan in your first weekly or monthly business finance meeting so you stay on top of this as you go. That's the critical bit. Right. Laura Paul, are you in the house? Do we have a Laura Paul?
That's me.
That's
Laura!
You! Can you come on screen?
Speaking to us from the beyond. There she
is. There she is. Hey, Laura.
You're doing the session next week, aren't you? What have you got for people? What's coming up?
I am. It's very exciting. So, I know that Katie Coombs, I know we've got lots of Katies here. Katie Coombs dipped into marketing last week. So we're going to continue with a little bit of marketing. I'm going to show you how you can create your own marketing for free using Canva. We've got flyers, QR codes, social media posts, even websites. Yes, if you want a website, I will show you how to create a website for free. So I'm looking for a volunteer. I have a special opportunity. However, I only have one. This is one special opportunity for one business here. What I want is I need a volunteer to come on and help me build a website. So I will build a website for you live. If you think that that is you, I have a few things. I have like a little list. I've written it down so I don't forget. So I need, ideally, if you have some photos of your product or service or you, this isn't a must though. Like this isn't like a, if you're like, no, I don't have that, you can still apply. It might still work. It's not a must. You also have to be happy to come on and chat live. So if you're willing to open up your camera, open up your microphone, what else have I got here? Oh, yes. How do you apply? Everyone's like, me, pick me. How do you apply? I'm going to do a post in the Facebook group right now. So you have to find that post and you have to comment under it. You have to tell me what your business is, and I'm going to pick someone from there. How does that sound?
That sounds
great.
awesome.
Maybe if you pin the post so that people can find it, that would be a good shout.
No, I'm going to hide it and see if they're
But you
gonna
made it sound like that's part of the challenge. You got to like wade your way through Facebook. Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
don't-
I did it. I created this post last year, ready for today. Now go find it.
It's got to be a challenge, hasn't it? Don't make it too easy.
So, like, apply for that. Have a website built by Laura for your business, and then if you don't get that, it is still super important to come next week because you can build along with us.
Yes,
build the
of
website,
course.
get your business going, and we've promised that you'll show people how to use SumUp and link it to the website as well. Is that correct, or did I make that up?
So we're not going to do a live SumUp demo. However, I have created lots of stuff, like step-by-step guides on how you can use SumUp, and I'm going to talk about it. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you, Laura. Please say thank you to Laura, and we'll see you next week, Laura.
See you on Monday. Bye.
I feel like I'm on like kids' TV and it's like introducing the new presenter. Oh, I love it. I love Rebel. It's so fun.
Okay, so
I'll bring some puppets.
Bye, Laura. The closing message for this half is don't just wing it with boxes of receipts and chaos. That's how stress, mistakes, and lost profits creep in.
And these systems that you're coming up with, these processes, are not just for big companies. They are your secret weapon. They're going to save you time, reduce mistakes, and help make your business more profitable, more money in your pocket.
Imagine the freedom of knowing exactly where your money is going, what's coming in, what's going out. No more panic. No more last-minute scrambles.
So create a system that you actually use. It doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to work.
It just has to work. So don't let disorganisation hold you back from building the business and the life you want. Take control, get organised, and watch your stress melt away.
Because when you know your numbers, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. So I'm so excited to see what systems you come up with, and please share them in the Facebook support group as well.
And a quick thank you to the people who have sponsored this course. So this course is completely free and it's sponsored by Camden, South Ribble, Brent, Chorley, Bridgend, West Berkshire and Ullersford District Council. I had to take my glasses off to read it. Uttlesford. Could someone zoom in?
Uttlesford in North Essex. I repeat, Uttlesford, North Essex.
Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Simon. So if you are in one of those areas, please say thank you to your council. They put this on for you. If you're not in one of those areas, please say thank you to the councils because they paid for this course for you. So they paid the cost of putting this on, the software, the time, the team, and they made it all happen for you. So thank you so much to the sponsors of the event and for helping us to democratise entrepreneurship and give away the best possible entrepreneurship education for free for everyone. That's the plan. So thank you.
Thank you, sponsors. We have a lot more to give you. So we've done the first part of the evening of the session, which was applicable wherever you are in the world. We're now going to go into UK tax specific. So if you're not in the UK, this bit will be less relevant for you. If you're super geeky and you want to watch, of course you're welcome to stick around. But for those of you that are not, and that's not going to be as relevant, if you're watching on YouTube, before you go, please help us spread the word by hitting like, subscribe, and putting a comment or sharing the video with a friend. We just want to help as many people as we can with this.
Perfect. Goodbye, New Zealanders. Goodbye, people from America. Goodbye, people from around the world. And now we are on to the UK tax specifics.
He looks intense.
Oh, yes. This is going to get intense, baby. Strap in for the tax stuff. We're going to have fun.
But we're keeping it simple. We're going to give you exactly what you need to know.
Exactly. Sonia says thank you from Germany. I love that. Goodbye, Germany. Thank you, Germany.
Is this the Eurovision Song Contest?
Exactly. Now, your personal tax and your business tax impact each other. So if you have a job and a side hustle income, they will impact each other. So you need to consider your whole situation. Like, we cannot know every single person's situation here, so we have to kind of try and do like, here's how it works, and you'll have to figure out how this works for you. We will assume, for the sake of this, that the business you're building is your only income. You need to consider your tax situation holistically. You can use AI to talk it through with It can be absolutely great, and then always come back to what's your goal for this. So is your goal to get more money in your pension? Is your goal to make more cash to spend? Your goal is important. And remember, AI sometimes makes things up. Now, what do you actually need to start? Not a lot. You just need to get going because you've got the £1,000 trading allowance. You just run the mini experiment. If you make over £1,000, then you have to register as an official business. Sole trader, limited company, you've got to choose, and we're going to help you choose. If you do your mini experiment and you aren't enjoying it, shut it down before you go over the trading allowance. That way you don't have to register.
That sounds very formal, shut it down, but it just means
Stop.
Stop selling.
Exactly. And then if you're enjoying it, well, we need to plan the next steps.
And that's what this part of the session is about. So we're going to cover 4 different things: the business structure, how tax and national insurance works, making tax digital, which is this new government thing they're bringing in, and building wealth with your business.
Those are the 4 elements. We're going to start with business structure, which is choosing the structure of your business. So let's go to those. Sole trader, self-employed, limited company, partnership, community interest company, social enterprise, and charity. For 10 points, which one of these doesn't exist?
Or it's not like an official structure.
Yeah, which one of these doesn't actually exist? Anyone tell me? Sonia's just staring at me. She doesn't. Do you know, Sonia? Karen, do you know? Who knows? People are saying partnership, community interest company. It's actually social enterprise. A social enterprise, the official version, is a community interest company. So social enterprises doesn't actually exist. Anyone can call themselves a social enterprise. Now, partnership, we'll come on to why, but we're going to recommend not going with that to start with, and social enterprise doesn't exist. 99% of us are going to choose between sole trader and limited company, and we'll do a little bit more on the other ones as well.
Can you explain what each of these are, or are we going to come on to that?
Well, let's explain them through how to decide.
Okay.
So when we're looking at this, we've got a bunch of criteria to think through. Number 1 is profit levels. How much money you're going to make in your business directly affects which one you would choose, because there will be different tax advantages based on different ones. Number 2 is complexity. Some of these are very complex, some of them are not. You've got liability and risk, which we'll talk about. Who is involved, which will cover the partnership bit. The ability to change between these structures, because some it's easy to swap between and some it's very difficult. Some cost you a lot more and have a lot more administration than others. Some are specifically for a social focus. And then you've got your whole income or your whole tax situation. So those are the different bits.
And as we go through these, what I want you to take as we go is that the default should be that you will be a sole trader or self-employed. It's the simplest. Then if there's a really good reason to do something else, then you would do it. But I want your mindset to be, well, let's assume I'm going to do that, and then we can make a different decision if one of these is particularly strong.
Exactly. Now, profit levels. How much cash are you going to make? Let's do an example. If you made £50,000 profit, would you keep more of it personally with a limited company or a sole trader? Which one of those would keep more of the money for you? Stephanie says limited.
Again, lots of limited.
Lots of limited.
So we're assuming that
Emily says sole trader.
Get all of the money in your pocket afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. So if you made 50 grand profit, which one would leave you with the most at the end? So let's actually prove this. It's quite interesting. It seems to be about 50-50 in the chat. Westermoland says sole trader. Charlie Cummings says sole. With a sole trader, you would be left with £40,000, 268 after tax. So you'd pay about 10 grand tax. And with a limited company, you would be left with 39,440. So you're actually slightly better off being a sole trader at 50 grand profit. Isn't that interesting? And the government are making the tax systems more and more, or actually less and less favourable for companies.
Yes.
And sole traders seem to be actually pretty favourable.
And we've assumed that the money is coming through the company into you, and we'll explain how that works, but not leaving it in the company, but taking it all out.
Exactly. And you've got to remember, this also doesn't include accountancy or admin costs. So you could actually be a few thousand worse off in a limited company because you have to actually pay to have an accountant doing it for you. So it's really kind of fascinating that sole trader is actually better for you tax-wise now at a 50 grand profit. If you're making more than that, like 60, 65, 70, you might want to start thinking about being a limited company. Santa Mike says, what's the break point? It actually kind of depends on how much you're spending on an accountant and a few other things and how you do it. So we're going to kind of go, if you're 60, 65 and above, you probably want to be a limited company. If you're less than that, and this is profit figures, not turnover. Profit is sanity. That's the profit figures.
What's the difference between a sole trader and a limited company? What are these things, Alan?
So a sole trader, you are the business. It's literally you. So if I was a sole trader, I would be Alan Donegan as the business. A limited company is like having a separate legal entity that is a business. So the business takes the money in, pays the expenses out, and then pays me a salary or dividends. Whereas a sole trader, I get the money in, I pay the money out, and then what's left is my profit that I pay tax on.
Yeah, there's no legal distinction, because people often say, well, how do I pay myself a salary as a sole trader? It's like, you don't. That's your money. You just have to make sure you put the tax and NI aside, which we'll come on to.
Exactly. And John says, so 60, 65 profit for a limited company. Did I hear that right? Yeah, if your profit is heading up towards 60 plus, then you probably want to be a limited company.
Because one of the main advantages is that as a limited company, you can plan when you take the money out. Whereas as a sole trader, that's deemed that you receive all that money in one tax year. Whereas a limited company, if you have a year when you do really well and you don't want to pay a big amount of tax, you can plan when and how you take it out.
Exactly. And then we're going to move on to the second criteria, which is complexity. Can you guess which one of these structures is the most simple? Which one of these is the most simple? Sole trader, limited company, CIC,
Charity.
Which one of these charity? Yeah, most people are saying sole trader. If we had a scale of complexity and this side was like the most simple, it would be sole trader. Then you would move up to limited company. That's more complex because you have to pay salaries, you have to report to Companies House, it's a separate legal entity, there is a lot more administration and work. And then if we kept going on the scale, you would go to CIC, a community interest company, which is a limited company with extra restrictions. So you actually have to do more paperwork, more things to be able to have that. Then the final one is charity. Sorry, Katie. Charity's like way out
complex?
there.
Why
it's not you, it's past you. That's by far the most complex one out there. The most complex, the most reporting, the most work.
Can you explain what a CIC is? So you said there's these additional rules. What is that?
So it is a limited company at its heart, but with these extra rules. And some of the rules can be, you get to decide on them, but there can be like, this is a not-for-profit. We're not trying to make profit, we're just trying to bake even, and we're going to do this good in the charity. In the community.
In the community through the structure, which is the CIC, Community Interest Company.
Yes. And then also you have this thing called an asset lock, which means the assets can't be stripped of the company. I'm a bit rusty on CICs because it's been a while since I've set one up.
We can cover that on Thursday.
But it is so much more paperwork. And for 99% of us, what we actually want to do is focus on being a limited company or a sole trader that actually makes money and profit, because it's that money that comes in that's going to look after you. So that, to us, is the whole game for this, is build a business that makes money, that looks after you. That, for us, is the whole game for this.
A few people are asking about what if things go wrong with the liability of sole trader and limited company, which we have next.
Which is the liability and the risk. So liability and risk, a limited company is a separate legal entity. So it takes on the risk. And if you were to get sued, if something was to go wrong, your limited company is the thing that gets sued, not you personally. And if you're starting a business the Rebel Business School way, you're probably not taking on a loan, you probably don't have any debt, and you're starting from profit. So that liability piece isn't actually needed. Like, a lot of its time is like, I'll start a limited company because I'm borrowing £1 million to build my business, and I don't want to be personally liable to that. But in most cases, banks now want a personal guarantee, even if the loan is to a limited company. So that liability risk doesn't actually protect you as well as it used to.
Well, also, if you're doing it the Rebel way, where you're not borrowing money to start your business, that's a moot point as well.
Exactly. So that liability isn't needed in the same way in our minds. So you kind of go, well, if you are borrowing money, or you really think you're going to have a problem where you're going to get sued, then a limited company might help you. But for most of us, that's probably not an issue and not something we need.
I mean, hopefully you're not going into your business thinking that you're going to do something dodgy and get sued, are you? Or you
kind of want to go into it with the best of intentions and make it. And you can also protect yourself in different ways other than just the company structure. So one of the best ways to protect yourself other than the company structure is insurance. And you can have insurances for your businesses. And there are different insurances you would get. Number one is public liability insurance. This is the thing you need if you work with the public. So someone put in the chat, I'm a therapist, and you would need public liability insurance if you are working with the public. You've got employer's liability insurance, which is if you have staff. If you have a team, if you employ people, you need this insurance. You have professional indemnity insurance, which is if you are giving advice. So if you're giving advice or your business gives advice, you would need this insurance. If you've got a building, you can have business contents insurance, or you can have business equipment insurance. Those are the main types you can have.
You don't need all of these. It's just you would need to think through which ones are relevant for your business. And we got a bunch of resources.
So we're not going to talk through all of them today, but we have this as a series of videos that the Rebel Gang did with AXA Insurance. They'll put the link in the chat, or you can scan the QR code if you're watching on YouTube, and it will take you to a set of videos that breaks down each of those insurances and helps you choose whether you need them. So that's all we're going to say on insurance. Yes, you might even need them if you're a sole trader. Absolutely. Okay, coming on to who is involved in your business, who specifically. When you're starting up a business, you might want to do it with someone you like.
Why are you looking at me?
Anyone you like. You might actually want to start the business with someone else. Maybe you want to do it as a team. The thing I want to say to you is the best way to start is if you're both sole traders. I really think that makes things so much easier. So one of you could take the money in and the other one could bill that person for half the money. Then you're both responsible for your taxes. Send them an invoice, bill them for half the money. But it makes it a lot easier if it goes wrong, if it doesn't last. You haven't set up all these complex structures that you have to take to pieces. It's easier to get out of it. You can set up a limited company that has shareholders. So let's say Katie and I were working on a business together. We could set up a limited company and we could each own 50% of the shares. So that's one way to do it together. Or there is a partnership. A partnership is basically where you're both sole traders, but you're in a partnership working together. We would say if you are going to work with someone else, the best way to start is if you are both sole traders. And then if it goes really well, then maybe you could form a limited liability company together, or you could form a partnership together, but start that way. Which brings us on to our next little piece, which is the ability to change between these structures. The ability to change. If you start as a limited company, how easy is it to unwind it?
That's a tricky kettle of fish. I think I have to mix metaphors there. It's more complex, isn't it, to unwind the company, to take all the cash out of the company. Whereas if you start as a sole trader, it's way easier to then increase the complexity, because we're thinking about complexity, right? Like if something's a bit more complex, to unwind it and go backwards, that's trickier. So that's why we encourage you to start as a sole trader, and you can always increase the complexity if you need to.
Exactly. That's the key bit. So start as a sole trader and then move on from there if you want to. The next item we wanted to talk to you about is admin and costs. If you remember the complexity scale of sole trader to charity, basically admin and costs follow that. It's way more administration to do a charity or a CIC or a limited company than it is a sole trader. The simplest possible version with the least costs is sole trader, because you can do it all yourself. Which we've actually helped friends to do this stuff, and it keeps it super easy.
I think I'm right in saying there's no cost to the government to set up as a sole trader either, right?
It's free to set up as a sole trader, but it does cost you money to set up as a limited company and then to file the accounts and do all the different bits. So sole trader's free, the others are not, and it costs you money. And we're a big fan of free here.
We like free. You can always progress, can't you? As you've done your mini experiment, you've been going for a year, 2 years, however long, your profit's starting to get higher, then you can always change, but just start with it being simple and easy.
Stephanie says, what do you mean by free?
Which bit?
Means it doesn't cost you any money. Like, to set up as a sole trader does not cost you any money. To set up as the other ones does actually cost you money to apply.
You have to, it's free to register as a sole trader in the UK. It is not free to register a company. You have to pay, and it's not a big amount. I think it's £13, something like that in that region. So it's not a big amount, but it is an extra cost.
Exactly. Okay, and then we're going to talk a little bit about social focus. What do we mean by that? It's when you've got a community interest company that is trying to do good in a community, or a charity that is trying to do good in a community. Why would you ever set one of those up if it's a lot more complex and costly? Well, the reason is because sometimes to get certain types of funding, you need to have one. But to get that type of funding is very labour intensive and takes a huge amount of work.
Am I allowed to do good as a sole trader or limited company?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
So you could do good without any of the paperwork. And that's kind of what we did, was make our own money and then do good as well. These structures are really only needed if you're trying to bring in certain types of grant or funding, which are very competitive. We always say, build a company that makes a profit and you will be able to do more good. Okay.
And then the final criteria, the final thing to think about when you're determining which structure to go for is all of your income. So think about this as you as an individual, but also your household. So do you have a partner? What's the whole income as a family, as a household?
So that's the final element. Now, quick tip, if you are pensionable age, you don't have to make national insurance contributions, pay tax on your income as a sole trader. So it actually makes sole trader even more tax efficient if you are pensionable age.
So you have to pay income tax, but you don't have to pay national insurance.
Exactly. So we just wanted to highlight that because it could actually make it really like a far better to be a sole trader. So we've got a final simple table to guide you through this. Sole trader, mostly for new businesses, side hustles, super simple, flexible and easy. That's what it keeps you there as.
With a limited company, that's as your profits start to get higher, or you have concerns about liability that you want to have it as a separate legal entity. That's why you would then go for a limited company. It does increase the complexity, but the advantage is the tax planning. So you don't have to take all the income in the tax year, whereas you do as a sole trader.
Exactly. A partnership is if you have 2+ founders, but you share the risk. And this is the difficult one that I don't particularly like, is if your partner takes out a loan, then you are jointly responsible for it. So you better trust the person you're doing a partnership with 100%. It has joint liability, and it's the same simple structure as a sole trader, but as a partnership. The CIC is the community interest one. It's the purpose driven, it's the focused one, but it is super regulated. It has an asset lock and it is way more complex. And then the final one, charity, is non-profit fundraising, but it is very complex and with strict rules. So we just wanted to sort of lay those out. We think 99% of us should choose sole trader or limited company. Those are the main ones. And we have an article for you that our fabulous accountant Emma May wrote about which structure to go for. So there you go. That's the little section on structures. I'd love to know, what did you think? What did you get out of it? Which structure do you think you would go for? Gail says, my brain is frying quietly, even though I thought I knew all most of this. It's a lot of information. It's all right. It'll be filmed and we will work through it all slowly with you. That's the plan, is to work through it all slowly with you.
It'll be filmed, meaning we are recording this session and you can watch on catch up.
That's exactly what I meant.
Thank you.
I'm glad you say it sometimes.
You can watch it back. You know, if you need to rewind, if you need to come back to it.
Exactly. So most people are saying sole trader, it seems like here. Sole trader can be the easiest way to start. Diana says, if I have staff, can I be a sole trader? Yes. You can absolutely be a sole trader and hire people. They are not mutually exclusive at all.
A few people are asking about tax going digital. We're coming on to that and we'll explain what that means.
Ben says he's going to be a unicorn wrangler.
Nice.
I love that. But which company structure are you going to wrangle unicorns under is the question. I'm actually thinking, as time is flown, we should probably do the other sections on Thursday.
Yes.
Simon, what do you think? Are you there, Simon?
But look, we're about to get into the numbers and do some examples in the tax and in an eye, and I was so excited. But
I know, but it's also like late at night and we've been going for 2 hours.
We've been going for nearly 2 hours. Okay.
Exactly.
Where are you, Simon? Talk to us from above.
I am here. I am calling you from... Oh, there you are. Here we go. Right, so you're basically asking me for your...
Well, I think we're asking everyone as well.
Oh,
so
well,
if everyone has an
opinion... All right, see you later.
No, you as well.
Make up your mind, man. Okay, so let's ask the audience. Please type in the chat if you'd like an example to see how much money you would have to pay in tax if you earned a certain amount of money. Maybe we could do one example and then wrap on that and then sort of deal with the questions and the rest of the stuff on Thursday. That went through my mind.
I feel like I'd rather not just do a little bit of that section. I'd rather deliver the whole bit.
It's quite a big section, Simon.
And we've got, so people are asking, is Thursday going to be recorded as well? So if people can't make it on Thursday, they'll be able to catch up.
You.
Yeah, it will all be recorded. It will all be available for you. So we're doing it. Stephanie says it's nearly 10 p.m. in the UK.
Claire just wants to plough on. Just do it all now.
You can probably tell Katie and I are not in the UK. We're currently in California hanging out. That's why it's sunshiny outside. But you can tell Simon's in the UK because it's gone pitch black where he is.
I mean, we could just plough on and people can tune back in at a later date anyway.
They can, but I think it's a big section. I am voting for... No, I'm fine. My bum is tired from sitting on this seat for 2 hours without moving. But the other parts of me are ready to go. I am voting for let's come back and do it properly, because otherwise we're going to be like rushing through, and let's make sure we do it 100% on Thursday.
Yeah, that agrees. Yeah, that agrees.
Okay. So what? So where now?
Where now?
Little closing thoughts.
Message, closing thoughts, and then we're going to deliver all the extra bits on Thursday and really handle it well for you. Yes, we will be handling it 8 p.m. Thursday is the time, and we will do everything we've got left to do. So the tax, the NI, the wealth building, the making tax digital, we're going to cover all of that and give it to you, and we'll be able to go through it at a slow pace, calmly, and make sure we all stick together on it. So we're going to do that then.
With our mystery guest.
Before
you head off, we've got some closing thoughts.
Yes, the closing thoughts are systems. You've probably heard us say it quite a few times tonight. Systems. Systems will keep you safe and keep your business running smoothly, even when it goes crazy. And that's the key piece, is having the system running and looking after it. And that's what you've got to do.
And system can sound like a bit of a fancy word. It could sound a bit overwhelming, but all we mean by system is tracking what's coming into your business, tracking what's going out of your business, so you can do one minus the other to see the profit and to know how much tax you have to pay.
And the more that is automated, the less work you have to do personally, and the easier it is to do. And we will follow up on Thursday with all of the extra sections. Please give yourself a round of applause for making it through this session. We know there was a huge amount in here, and you had to work really hard to stay with us for the whole section. So I am super proud of you. You've done a fantastic job making it through this far. You have been fabulous, and thank you for coming along.
If you're watching on YouTube, please hit give us a comment, hit subscribe. It just helps us to help more people, and that's what we're all about.
Exactly. So thank you for coming along. You are amazing. You are released at 10 p.m. on a Monday night in the UK. You can go out and have fun. Are you going partying now? Is that what you do in the UK at 10 p.m. on a Monday?
Got my glazed sticks.
Cassandra looks like she's going to go straight out for a party. No, she's shaking her head.
Is that cocoa?
Is that cocoa?
Oh, Lemsip.
Lemsip.
Oh, sorry, Cassandra.
Sorry, Cassandra. Claire's going back to crochet. Lisa says it's Monday, so no school run at 8 a.m. Sonia says, what are you doing, Ali and Katie? We're going to go to the gym after this.
I'm going to sit in a dark room and just think about my life.
Anne's straight off to do her work, which is fantastic. Ben's having a nightcap. Ben, are you having the nightcap, or was that an invitation to come round?
Alex going partying with Simon. I think that's because Alex was born in 2009, so he's got energy.
He's got way more energy. Okay, thank you everyone. So YouTube, good night. Thank you for coming. It was lovely to see you. Kerry, Philip, Jack, Simon, Bex, all of you. It was lovely to see you tonight on YouTube. Thank you for coming. Wonderful. So Ewan, please hang up the